Hello, friends, and welcome to Coach Cut's Corner. Streaming bright from Michigan's capital city, this podcast is dedicated to helping you better understand the who, the what, and the why of mental performance, personal growth, and Lansing Stars baseball. Coach Cut's Corner, brought to you by Eyewash.
In collaboration with Lansing Community College.
And now here's your host, Stephen Cutter.
Welcome to Coach Cut's Corner. This is a place where we challenge limits, push for greatness, and develop athletes who thrive on and off the field. Today, we've got Stars left-handed pitcher Matthew Whiteman in the studio. Matthew's a Romeo, Michigan native, 6'3" lefty who's been putting in the work for our program and carries himself with excellence on and off the field. He's a competitor, a student of the game, and someone I'm excited for you to get to know. Matthew, welcome to the WLNZ studios.
Thank you, Coach.
First impressions?
It's pretty sweet. I've never been down here. It's cool to see that this school has a place like this.
Didn't know it existed.
Yeah. So
let's get started with, your background. Growing up in Romeo, how did baseball first take hold for you?
Baseball probably started off as much as like every other kid. My dad bought me a glove, took me out in the yard, played catch a little bit. But really started to take off was...
Were you naturally left-handed, right out of the chute?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
My dad says he was the one that taught me to throw left-handed.
Okay,
but,
that does happen.
Yeah, but my grandpa really kind of took hold of it. He played baseball at West Virginia. He was a third baseman there. So then every time we'd go over to his house in the summer, he'd take me out in the backyard, throw me BP, hit me ground balls, all that stuff. And probably that went on for a few years. And obviously, I played rec ball, went through the stages like coach pitch, t-ball.
What was the level of competition pretty solid at Romeo in the youth ages?
No, there's probably one
per
team.
Per team, yeah, usually. So your grandpa played at West Virginia, and he played third base. Did he have a lot of success there?
I'm not sure. He doesn't really talk about it too much. He said he enjoyed it though. He enjoyed the bus rides, playing there. He talks about playing at West Virginia, but he doesn't go in detail about it. So he kind of just, if you talk to him, he'll let you know he played at West Virginia, but he never really lets you know how good he did there.
So you've already spoken about your grandfather and a little bit about your dad, but who are some of the other people in your family or community that helped shape you most along that initial baseball journey?
I know my mom for sure. She'd be the one taking me to all the practices, all the games, stuff like that, especially when my dad was working. And then one of my first coaches, Coach Jeff, I played with him for a long time. He really was what kind of took baseball to the next level for me. I was like a second son for him.
Okay.
And he helped me in anything that I needed. He was a great coach, provided me with a bunch of resources, and that's really where I took baseball to the next level.
So a little bit about connection. How, roughly what age were you at that point?
I think I was probably 10 when I first met him.
Okay.
And I played in the rec league with him for a couple years. And then he decided to make a travel team.
Right.
And so then it started off as a North Macomb Reds, which was it was a travel team just based out of Romeo. We didn't really travel anywhere. But it ended up, he switched to the Washington Senators, and that's when the team I went to Cooperstown with. And then I played there for about 4 years. And then once he saw the team was kind of breaking up, he told me he didn't want to stay because I was better than what he had to provide. So then that's when I made the next step to the elite travel team, where I actually started playing a bunch of competition, and that's where my game really took off.
Okay. So let's bring it back to Romeo. When I hear Romeo, I think of a couple things. I think of some family friends that moved to Romeo, the Getterts. I also think of a football team, and I'm sure you're probably a little more aware of it than I am, but I remember this football team, and it wasn't that long ago, and they made it all the way to Ford Field. And what they were known for, at least what I remember them known for, I watched them play there, was they had a very small line, and the guys weren't very big, but they'd gotten taught techniques and stuff like that. Is that ring a bell for you?
Yeah, the 2015 state champions.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Must have been. So that was a pretty special team. Do you have memories of that?
Yeah, I remember I went to the game, and then they were playing Cass Tech, and I just saw the size difference between the guys.
Right. Yeah.
And they're the true underdogs, and it was crazy to see that they pulled off the win.
Yeah, really crazy. So that's my memories of Romeo. Is there anything that the city's known for?
Right after 2016, they won state championship in hockey, and that was like a
big deal.
Out of the blue, yeah.
A big deal. Anything else?
I'd say the biggest thing is the Peach Festival.
Okay.
The Romeo Peaches that happens on Labor Day.
Okay.
The local carnival, I'd say.
Did you go to that this year?
No, I went up north.
Okay. All right. When did pitching become your thing?
It was first year of kid pitch. I never really wanted to pitch, and then
Why?
I just really had no interest in it. And then
That's crazy.
my coach came up to me. He's like, "We need some pitchers. I think you'd be really solid at it." So then I just started going out there throwing the ball, and I had success, and that's when I just had a smile on my face and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, people tend to gravitate towards things that they're decent at. So yeah. So you started pitching at a young age.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any injuries along the way?
I mean, I had nothing major, a couple like impingements in my shoulder and some muscle spasms in my lat that kind of kept me sidelined for a little bit. I know sophomore year of high school, last game of the season, I had an impingement in my shoulder that I did physical therapy for the whole summer.
In high school, did you play both ways?
Yeah, I was a two-way.
Yeah. Well, you were quite the solid hitter from what I've been told by you.
Yeah, but I think my defense is better. My first base defense
was on point.
Yeah, defensive player of the year.
Do you miss? That's impressive. Do you miss playing both ways?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about college a little bit. Making the move from high school to LCC, what was freshman year, your sophomore year, freshman year, what was that adjustment like?
I mean, it was a pretty big adjustment, just how structured everything is. High school, we'd go in. First week of practice, you'd have a practice plan. But then after that, it kind of just same thing every single day. No one really saw any growth. And then coming here is like structured for time limits every single day. And then having that change and you actually see some progression and actually given drills to do instead of just doing it all on your own was a pretty big step up from high school.
Yeah, I feel like it for freshmen in general, it's just there's a lot going on. It's not just baseball. There's community stuff, there's campus stuff, there's classes, there's weight room, all these things. And man, you get this whole plate, filled up, and you got to figure out like how am I going to handle all this? And that's where the time management and all that stuff starts getting introduced to you, and it usually takes a little while to figure it out. Even though you get it all, you don't completely understand it. What's been the biggest learning curve, both physically and mentally, since stepping onto campus and onto a college mound for you?
I think the biggest learning curve really was just going through it my freshman year. Like, I've seen a lot of the freshmen this year. I mean, they're showing up late to lifts. Sometimes they show up late to practice, not getting their readiness in. And then thinking back to my freshman year, I didn't really know how important the details were. And that's something that's kind of like easy for me now this year because I've been through it. But stepping on the mound, like the biggest thing is how much you've taught us how to prepare ourselves for the moment. I know in high school, like our high school coach, he pitched at Eastern, but he never really helped us with pitching at all. So he never showed us how to prepare ourselves for when you have to use adversity and overcome it. And that's something that was
it's tough at the high school level to be a high school coach, because especially a head coach, because you're wearing a lot of hats and a lot of times you don't have a lot of help and you're trying to manage multiple programs between varsity, JV, or maybe even a freshman team. So you have that's a consistency thing. You miss out on maybe some defensive work or defensive talks or pitching help or hitting. It just kind of depends on what the program's like. It's not a slight or a fault on any high school coaches, because it's like you want to tip your hats to them at the end of the day, because they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the love of the game and for the service piece of it. And then you get to college and you're being told details matter, and there's expectations, and you're really trying to figure things out, and it's not easy, and it can become overwhelming at points, especially when you mix in if you're having some failures, and things like that. If it's sunny and 75 and you're having all the success, well, then things kind of just fall into place a little bit easier. But when you have some of the failures happen, then it makes things tougher. And I think as your freshman fall, it wasn't all sunny and 75 for you, was it?
No, not at all. I definitely, the first time I hit adversity, I really didn't know what to do. I kind of had to step off the mound, just take a deep breath, and kind of just trust myself to get through it. Then with all the mental performance training, it kind of became easier. I just knew, especially with the 617 breathing, that was definitely something that really helped me out on the mound, to just calm myself down. Because I know sometimes one of my biggest flaws is I let it speed up on me, especially if bases loaded and I just got myself into a jam. You just gotta take a deep breath and just continue doing your thing.
Yeah, it's a sport where you do have to bring yourself back to being present, focused on the next pitch, focused at the end of the day really just on competing. The more you practice the mental performance, the mental toughness, the more you practice that kind of stuff, that's where it can get into your subconscious and just becomes a natural thing that you just do. Just like breathing is a very natural thing that you do and you're not thinking about it. But when things speed up, your breathing also speeds up. And that's why you hear so many people talking about bring it back to the breath, bring it back to the breath. We talk a lot about just, when you sat down in the podcast studio, I was telling you, hey, be present. Let's have some fun today. Rub your feet on the floor. That's one of the easiest things to do to bring you back to being present. And every player faces tough stretches. We've been talking about the law of the thirds for a week or two, and we're really not gonna get into that so much. But what's been the biggest struggle for you, and how did you push through it?
Say the biggest struggle for me, it happened the summer before I came here. It was one of the biggest mental battles I ever went through. Usually I've been taught how to slow the game down, but I was up there on the mound and I'll be thinking about, wow, this fastball grip just doesn't feel like how I usually throw it. And I was just thinking about everything you could think of out there. And it showed too. I'd walk a bunch of guys. My velo was probably 73 to 75 every outing. And I had no clue what was going on. And I'd kind of just get mad at the world. My dad would try to talk to me about it. I'd kind of start yelling at him. And then after that happened for 3 games in a row, I lost all the confidence in my teammates. My teammates were bashing me, how you even committed, stuff like that. And that just really tore me apart mentally. And then I really just sat down with my dad on the car ride home. And I was I need some help with this. I told him what was going on. And he just immediately told me, he's reach out to some mental guy. And luckily for me, my buddy, he was going through yips in high school. He was a catcher. And he just, every time he'd try to throw me the ball back, it'd go into center field. And so he found this guy. He was a sports guy who talks the mental game. So he sent me his number. And I had 2 phone calls with him. And he gave me one simple cue to just keep saying over and over again. And it changed me instantly. I know. His cue was, F the haters, do your job. And so my next outing, I went out there. I probably said it over 100 times. And then I was right back. I was up to 86 again. Yeah. It was pretty sweet.
Cues are super important. They can be also really bad too. And that's where that self-talk, we've spoke about it for a long time, but the self-talk is so powerful, whether it's positive or negative, it's going to be really powerful. And the more you have that internal self-talk, but then you can times it by 7 or 10 in power if you can verbalize it. And we try to teach that we don't want guys going around shouting, things out, but you can kind of say things under your breath of, I can do this, or, be present, or next pitch, or, whatever it might be that can give you a lot of strength. And so kind of leads into the next question. What role does mindset play for you as a pitcher, especially being on the mound in the center of the baseball field?
I'd say mindset's pretty much everything when you're on the mound. I mean, your mechanics and stuff, that's just all natural. Once you're out there, you can't be thinking about that stuff. But if you don't have like the compete mindset, you're going to fail. And I know one thing I've gone out there and I just want to I hate my opponent so much where if I don't get a strikeout, I'm mad at the end of the day. And I know that's really hurt me in the past.
Yep.
And my dad always was he tried to talk to me before the game, but I was so locked in that I wouldn't even say anything, and he thought I was rude or something like that. And I didn't realize that was ultimately hurting me until I actually came here and I just started having fun. I was still locked in, but I was having so much fun and actually pitched with a smile on my face that it just made the game so much more enjoyable.
Right. Yeah, those are powerful words and powerful feelings for sure. Is there a game or a moment so far in your career, college, high school, whatever, that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, my first outing down in Mississippi.
Okay.
I was coming out of the pen, and
who were you playing?
We're playing Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Okay, nice field, beautiful field there. Yeah.
Great competition. I'm just running out to the mound, and I hear now pitching 6'3" left-hander from Romeo, Michigan, Matthew Whiteman, and it just put a giant smile on my face. And it was like a mental check just went off. I was like, I'm completing a goal that I've had for a very long time, playing college baseball, and here it is. And it ultimately just put a big smile on my face. And that was probably one of my best and favorite moments in all of baseball.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. That's like a minor league ballpark there at Gulf Coast. Where do you feel you've grown the most in this past year?
Definitely on the mental side. I know before I came here, one inning I'd come in, throw my glove on the bench, act like it was the glove's fault. I just threw a poor inning because my mind would speed up on me so much. But then doing the meditation every day, just learning so much stuff with the mind. It's now if I throw a poor inning, I don't get down on it. I let it go for now, go back out there, do my job. Then after the game, I start to analyze video, see what went wrong. And I always try to pick out positives and focus on positives too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The positives often get forgotten about. The failures or the negative stuff, it's kind of, you want to have the mindset of, okay, roger that, check a box. I need to do better. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to, do better. I know you, I think it was last night in leadership, you stood up and said something that really kind of caught me, made me think a little bit. And you were talking about just, feedback and how important feedback can be. And from a coaching aspect, we just talked about it in our Stars on Sports podcast about, I think coaching in general has been, you find the faults, you find what's wrong, you yell at bad things, it's just constantly negative. And sometimes those are hard environments to grow in. Sometimes those are hard environments to even want to be in. And it's really important that you can focus on some of the positive stuff too. And sometimes you're going to have outings on the mound that you're not going to have your best stuff. And sometimes you may walk somebody or hit somebody or, something like that. But maybe you can walk off the mound with still a 0 on the board, and it wasn't your best stuff, but you just walked off with a 0 on the board for that inning. That's a win, and sometimes that's the only win you might have for that inning. But it's super important to be able to find the positive things because there's a lot of positive things out there, and you will find what you're looking for. If you're constantly searching for all the things that are wrong with your pitching, boy, oh boy, it sounds like you found them when you were, walking people and couldn't throw very hard and all that, it was the same thing. But if you can look for things that are positive, while still knowing I've got a lot of work to do and I'm got to get better at this or that, That's a more healthy way to go about competing. It's also a more healthy way to go about life. We talk a lot about stacking bricks in our program. I think there's some definition there. But what's one brick you're stacking right now that you think is making you better?
Yeah, definitely. My biggest one I actually started working on this past week is getting the plyometric work in. Like, I know I'm a big guy. I got a lot of strength. I know I can deadlift 450 pounds or whatever, but I just don't see it translating to the mound. And so I was actually just talking to my dad about this because 2 days before the Puma, I was long tossing 100 plus yards. And they say, like, if you can do that, you can throw 90. So I was like super excited. And then I saw it didn't translate. So my dad was asking me, like, how come you can throw 100 yards, but you're not throwing 90 yet? So then I was just thinking, I mean, I'm 6'3", but I can't dunk. And I've always wanted to dunk. So I started talking to Tyler and Bryce about it. And they're like, man, I really love that idea of just trying to get jumpy. And so me and Tyler have been going to Crunch a couple days, 3 times a week. And we just go there and just try to jump as high as we can and change directions as quick as we can. Yeah. And like after the first week of doing that and seeing how sore my legs were, it was kind of like eye-opening that I haven't been using these muscles at all. So I'm just going to stay consistent with that. And then I'm really hoping to see some results from it.
I love that. And if you're listening, that's what driven and consistency looks like. You're always trying to get a little bit better. Our values in our program are uncommon, selfless, and excellence. And the acronym is USE, from uncommon, selflessness, and excellence. And we say use it. Use those core values. Which of those speaks to you the most right now?
I'd say uncommon for sure, just because the way I'm able to analyze myself, and I'm always trying to get better. I know some guys, like, they have a solid outing on the mound and they kind of just
get complacent.
Yeah, they just get complacent with it. I'm just trying to see if I know if I have a solid outing, I know there's something that I did like a negative, and I'm trying to fix that. But I think just the work ethic that I have is something that people kind of dream of having, but it's just built into me from a young age. And I think that like my ability to be able to sacrifice stuff, like I sacrifice the partying, I sacrifice the staying out late, the drinking, all that stuff, because I just have a goal and I want to complete that goal.
Yeah, and you've really embodied that since you've gotten here, and you've really stacked a lot of bricks, and you've gotten a lot better both physically and mentally, and you're a great teammate to have. You're very coachable. I've loved having you in our program. I'm super excited to see all the things that you're going to do this season, but also super thankful for all the things that you did last season. I want to kind of close out with some rapid fire questions, fairly light, but still personable. Favorite pitch to throw when the game's on the line?
I say fastballs because there's no better feeling than blowing a fastball by someone.
Pre-game ritual or superstition?
I don't really have one anymore. I'd say I'm starting one. I eat broccoli before every outing.
What?
Like the night before, broccoli is always in my dinner. But I did have a weird one a couple years ago. I'd only wear one pair of underwear when I'm throwing. And if I'm pitching, it's that same pair of underwear.
Okay. I was trying to figure out, you normally wear 2 pairs of underwear? Where's this going?
One certain pair.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can lock to that. And you should have been on my T-ball team that I coached back in the day, because if we lost, we didn't keep score, but if I felt like they didn't play well, I told them they had to go home and eat broccoli. So, favorite athlete you look up to or like?
When I was young, Justin Verlander was my guy.
Okay.
I'd go outside wearing his jersey, play baseball, always wearing his jersey, always watching him.
He's still playing, right?
Yeah. Definitely got to be his last season. But now, Tarek Skubal for sure.
Oh, all right. One word teammates would use to describe you?
A brute.
Matthew, I appreciate you being here and sharing your story. To our listeners, this is what our program is about: developing not just players, but people who are willing to put in the work, embrace the challenges, and chase excellence every day. Make winning in life your habit, not your goal. Excellence isn't an outcome. It's a daily standard. Until next time, keep stacking bricks and go Stars. Coach Cut's Corner is recorded live in the WLNZ studios. Engineering and production assistance are provided by Dedalian Lowry. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it and follow us on all the platforms of social media. You can find more about our program at lccstars.com, and donations to our baseball program can be made at the same site. See you next time.